Okay, here you go, Lexi. Here is a not so great tutorial on creating practice quizzes. Okay, so I went into the class and it's 1050 section 2 for the 2021 spring semester. And I already have this in here. I added it, but I'm going to show you if you want to add a new quiz, it's add an activity or resource. And even if we call them tests or exams, they're all going to be labeled as a quiz. So when you click add, that brings up a new option. So the one I had in there was BMR, so we could type in freshman 15 practice quiz. You can give it a label. We can also give it a description. I'll show you the one I put for the other practice quiz. And if you check this box, that will allow the description to be displayed on the actual Moodle page, which is good because sometimes the students need to see that. As far as any of these others, we can worry about those later. So don't worry about any of these other options because I'll deal with the timing once we get dates and things for the spring semester on when we're going to do which projects. The grade book has to be set up before I can do any of this. So once you have the name of the quiz and a short description, you just click save and it takes you back to the course. So now I have freshman 15 practice quiz. Here's the description I put for the BMR practice quiz. So you could copy and paste this if you want. It can be very generic for all of them. So let's take a look at how we would add questions. All right. So we're going to click on the quiz itself, and you can click edit here on this button if you haven't added any questions, or you can go to the left side and click edit quiz, either way. And this will give you the option, and this is where the questions will show, and you will first start by using the add button. And we're going to add a new question, all right, since all these are going to come from somewhere new. So this first one, we could say it's going to be numerical. We're going to use that for our question types, and we'll use the essay for when they have to show their work. All right, so first we're going to do numerical. It's going to ask for a category. It will default usually to the last category that was used, but this time I'm going to put all of these questions for this specific quiz into this category. So it's just helpful if you put them into a category for the quiz so we can find them easier if we want to pull them maybe for a midterm or a final. Okay, we're going to give the question a name. So this first one, I'm going to call it the Calculate BMR question. Now for the text, you've got options. You can type it in. I pulled up an old question from Word. This may not be the exact one we had on our practice quizzes, but just to show you here. And you're going to have to probably edit a little bit. If you don't like the font, I'm completely okay with you changing that. You could go in and use the options that we have here. We can make things bold. You can put in lists or tables or things like that. If we've got formulas, we can deal with that later. You can insert images. So I just went ahead and made everything bold. Again, if you copy and paste, sometimes the formatting, you might have to move things around. And in this question, I didn't have a rounding directions in there. So I'm just going to put round to the nearest whole number. Okay. Now, the next thing you would enter would be possible answers. Okay. Now, your choice here. You can enter just the correct answer. If you want to enter some others, like on this one, I think when I calculated it, I did 2,946. Now, this guy's birthday has technically not happened yet, but it's close, so I figure this will be the correct answer for the spring semester. And that gets 100%. Now, let's say they rounded incorrectly and they used 2,947. All right. I'm going to give that partial credit or up to 90%. And I'm going to let you choose. It does not matter if the rounding was off, maybe it's 90%. If, let's say, they used a wrong amount, like the wrong age, so they put in the wrong age for this person and it gave us a different answer, they might get half credit. Right? And again, I'm not worried about these too much. If you just have the correct answer in one spot, that's completely fine. Now, to add the option for units. All right, so we can say units are not used at all, but I like to get them in the habit of using units. So I'm going to actually put down here that the unit must be given and it will be graded. Okay, we're going to give them the option. I think it's easier if we do a drop-down menu. And the correct unit I'm going to list first. BMR is a measure of calories. And we can save that. And you can preview it. Now, if you want to just see if they're paying attention to their units, we could put in another option. So under calories, I just went back and I'm going to put, let's say pounds, just to see if they're paying attention. I'm going to leave the multiplier the same. And if I click Save Changes, it will allow me to go back and edit. And now I can preview that question again. So when you look at it, here's my question. You can kind of check the formatting. We can put our answer in. So I know that the answer that should get 100% is 2,946. Now I'm not using commas, something else. I'm not going to put any commas in there. Moodle has issues sometimes with commas and decimals. I haven't figured that one out yet. And then they can choose calories or pounds. Save that answer. You can submit and it will tell you if it's correct or not. All right. Then you can close the preview. Okay. The other things down here we don't worry about. I'm not going to worry about multiple tries, tags, or created. Now I'm going to click Save Changes, and that becomes a question that's inside my test or quiz. And we can worry about the points later. I think the default is 1. If we wanted the maximum, or if we wanted each question to be worth 3, we could enter a 3, and it's going to give me the total marks. And at the end, whatever the total marks is, I want that to be equal to the maximum grade. So if we end up with 12, I'm going to change the max grade to 12. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to do here is I want to give them the option in an essay form to submit their work. So they have to show their work. And I'm just going to say, show your work. And this question text is going to say, how do you know? Show your work using the sketch tool or upload a photo. And hopefully we'll have that sketch tool for the spring. I don't know what's going to go on with that. Now, this is an important part. For them to be allowed to upload a photo, you have to choose the HTML editor with the file picker. That allows them to choose a file to upload or take a picture. Text, I'm not going to say that that is required. They don't have to type. Normally, the size is okay. We don't have to worry about attachments because if it's got the file picker, it'll let them insert an image. Information for graders. We could go through and probably what might be easier here is to upload an image of the work that we did, you and I did on the pages, right? So on the actual pages of these practice quizzes, we could upload a screenshot or an image. You could take a picture with the iPad and upload it here. That way, while we're grading, we could look and say, oh yeah, they did all the work, or they didn't do any of the work, or it looks completely wrong, okay? And then we're going to save changes. Now, we want these two questions to appear on the same page in Moodle, meaning I want them to be able to see the question that they're being asked and to see where they're going to show their work. So to do that, you just click these two little arrows here. It's a page break, and that just puts those together. The other thing is, for the practice quizzes, I'm not going to go in and hand grade this essay part. So what I want to do is I'm going to change that to 0 points, okay? And the reason is I don't want to have to go in and hand grade all of the show your work portions on the practice. If it's a real quiz, yes, I will grade that. But if it's a practice quiz, we just want Moodle to do all of the grading, and that can be done by this numerical question we have here on question 1. Now, Right now we've got 3 marks, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to save that as a 3. And I want to preview the quiz just to see what it looks like, see if it makes sense or it looks the way I want it to. So here's your preview. Question 1 is where they would enter their answers, but they can look at it at the same time as they're showing their work. So that's what we're trying to do. So I want to make sure that Moodle grades question 1 for us, and then question 2 is something they just get practice doing. It's not going to actually be graded on the practice quizzes. Okay, and then you can finish attempt if you want to do that. Okay, now, if you ever, like, you get out of this and you're like, oh no, I'm at the class again. If you want to go back to your quiz, click the quiz itself, click edit, and you can go back and add a new question. Okay, and again, we're going to try to stick with only numerical for their number answer and then essay for showing their work. Right. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too crazy, and it's just a start. If you've got questions, let me know. But if you look on this, we've already got kind of a shell here. I've got your BMR practice quiz and your freshman 15 practice quiz. It's started, but again, when you open it up, there's no questions, right? I haven't added any questions to it. And let's do this quickly too. If you get to a point where you want to add an image or something to a question, so like if you need to add an image or add a screenshot of a formula, you can totally do that. You go in here to your image button and it'll allow you to browse through either your iPad or your desktop. This is all that's on my desktop. I don't have my iPad right now using. I'm filming with that. So if this were on your iPad, one of the options would be to take a picture. So you could do that too if you wanted to take a picture and upload a picture of a formula. Completely fine. If you come across a formula you think we could possibly type in there, I'll be glad to try it. It'll take a little bit of coding, but like if you want to keep kind of a running list, you know, BMR practice quiz question 3 needs a formula, I'll be glad to go in there and add that. So just keep me posted, and hopefully this wasn't too boring and you learned a little bit about Moodle.